Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I'm here for Baki 2018, Episode 9. We got a fight on the way. I'm thinking it's gonna be a good one. We've got Kato versus Dorian, and it's occurring in Dorian's secret hideout, which he happens to have since, or has had since the war. So, 50 plus odd years. He's known about this secret hideout, and as a young man hid there. Pretty cool. So Dorian is also pretty darn old, because he was shown being like, I don't know, I would guess somewhere between 16 to 20 when he was first there, and the war was, 44, 45 ended, so he's like 70. He's an old geezer. Of course, he's a buff, scary, evil, angry old geezer, so not to be underestimated, that's for sure. And I get the feeling that Kato, who is he's a fighter in the school of Shinshinkai, and has Doppo's respect to an extent. We saw a little bit of that. And is willing to use anything he can, anything at his disposal, in order to fight. But has his own sort of philosophy about how and when and why to fight. But he's come after Dorian. And Dorian has just attached a bunch of broken glass to his fists, which is pretty cool. So they're gonna battle it out. I'm thinking and kind of hoping that this battle takes up most of our screen time for the episode. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. Is there anything else going on? Not really. There isn't really anything else going on. There was just Dorian showing up at the place they were all meeting, Dorian making stuff explode, and Kato follows him. That was about it. We've sort of left everybody else to their own devices for now. So everything is on this fight. I hope that it's a good one. I get the feeling that Kato is not going to win this one. Considering that he is essentially not a character. I know he's got some history in the past and stuff like that, but in the context of this series, he is essentially not a character. He does not matter. And Dorian is a character. Dorian has attacked the homies a couple of times and done some bad stuff, and yeah, he's a character. It would feel weird for anybody except one of the Orochis to take Dorian out in the end. But it's possible. You never know. Maybe Kato has this one in the bag. I don't think so. I think he's fucked. I think he is in way over his head and underground, and not going to be able to escape. Or anything. I think he's going to get his shit kicked in and then his skull crushed. Or similar. Anything that kills him. Doesn't matter. Something will kill him. That's my thought. Anyway, before we get into this, if you like these reactions, hit me with a like, sub, ring the bell. And if you really like these reactions, then consider supporting me on Patreon. Also, I know for the last couple of Bakis that I have uploaded the full-length reactions to Drive, and then I have posted the link in the description. That will not be happening anymore. The reason that is not happening anymore is because for all of my other reactions, what I'm doing is I'm posting the timers to YouTube, I'm uploading them to Drive, and the uploaded full-length, full video content that is on Drive is patron only. So, if you want those with the video in the video, they're patron only now. It's for consistency with everything else. It feels weird to do it any other way. So, if you really want those, that's where you can get them. If you don't care and the timer is good enough for you, awesome, stick around. In any case, let's get into this fight. Let's see what we got. I'll still have, if there's anything that I want to look at in greater detail, I'll still have the video in at the end. I won't do anything weird there. But just for consistency's sake, it only makes sense to do the same thing as all of my other content. Baki is not special, it is a scheduled show, and I will do the same thing with it that I do with the other things. It's unfortunate. I wish that I could upload just highlights to YouTube, and then I could do the full reactions on Patreon, but I can't upload the highlights because TMS Anime is not nice about that at all. So, we're going to be safe, and I'm going to do the same thing with Baki reactions that I do with all of my other content, and I will upload them to Drive on the same day that they come out, and those links will be available through the Patreon. That's the deal. So, let's get into Baki 2018, Episode 9. If you're watching the timer-based version, there will be a beep-beep timer. It'll go boop, 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 beep. On the beep and the green light, that's when you want to push the button to play along. If you cannot acquire Baki by any other means, there is a little site. It's called Nya. It's the sound that cats make in Japanese. Nya. Yeah? Okay. You can find it there. I am watching the Anime Land web rip encoded by Omar. Okay? And I'm using the subtitles from Eiyuu. So, if that helps you sync up stuff, good. If you can't find it there, you can find it all over the place. You can find it on Kiss Anime, you can find it on everywhere. You can find it. So, let's get into it. If you're watching the timer-based version, then the timer will go here. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it. Timer goes here. Dis-OP. It's OP. Grease and glass. Oh. Oh, that's bad. Oh. 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 Okay. Ooh, he did a blood spur. Oh! Nice. You want defeat? Just like them? Busted up that wall. Anime physics. Okay. Lots of still frames of them standing around talking. He's got red glint. Interesting. Still frames of standing around talking interspersed with slow-mo CG. I can't ooh and ah over that. I just can't. Oh, this kills the Kato. Or should. I've learned my lesson from Hanayama. Oh, this should kill the man. At least gouge his eyes out. Should. Alright, what's the damage, buddy? Not that bad. He looks like, Hanayama. Oh. Got him. Seen that attack before. I quite like this. Having him just sing. While he beats the pulp out of Kato. It's quite good. It's excellent characterization. I really quite like it. Okay. 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 No. What? I think he's letting you. No, he's fucking trapping you. We've seen him do this before. Oh, okay. Fingers in the eyes. Huh? Nani? Hypnosis? Some kind of weird shit? What? 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 Alright. Okay. Oh. Okay. What? That's some bullshit. Oh, he's got that wire thing. Oh, he's got that wire thing. He's got a better wire thing than you have. Okay. Is he actually decapitated? Because until I see him decapitated, I don't think he's dead. That's a lot of blood, though. Oh, that's a lot of blood. He's dead. Right? Right? He's dead. I'm doubting all deaths. Who dis? Retsu? Yep. Okay. Swap to CG for that motion. Gonna use some chi stuff. His eyes glint. His glint switched to a red glint. What did he sense inside there? It's his body. He put his body in the punching bag. That's pretty fucked up. Wait, is he alive? Okay. Also a sliced neck. So he's all fucked. This is just filling time. Brutally. Need to go get revenge, right? You're gonna get a lot of people killed. Okay. Gonna get a whole lot of people killed. Ooh, who this? Who dat? Is that Dorian in disguise? Yup. Ah. So you're here for vengeance, eh? Okay. He's always prepared. Mm-hmm. Hello. Dead, 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 dead. Peasants. Oh, hello. Obviously. Neat. To kill you. Oh, that's a lot of people. You wanna bet? So, what, a series of fights? Or all at once? Setting this up as overwhelming odds. Or something. So they're not going to all fight him. Retsu and Dopo, probably. As long as he can get defeated, he's happy. Freestyle fighting, okay. Nothing in the hands. Of course, they'll accept, which is foolish. No. 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 Yeah. Oh. So who's waiting for him inside? See ya. Okay, so I will say that this was the least interesting episode of Baki so far. Doesn't mean it was bad, just means that it was worse than all the rest. The majority of the episode was this fight between Dorian and Kato. Little more than half of the episode. was this fight. And the fight consisted of two major things. It was still frames of them standing looking at each other in various poses or with various blood sprays. And then it was CG models used for the action scenes. Neither of them were very enthralling or great. I mean, it's passable enough CG. It's very obvious and not super good, but it's passable enough. It's passable enough still frames, but it's not very good. It's passable. I think the more important thing is that we don't really care about this fight between Dorian and Kato. In terms of a narrative perspective, like, Kato was introduced last episode. And no amount of oh, my underlings look up to me is gonna make us care about a character that we have no reason to care about. In fact, he's not likable. He's not a likable character either. We're not rooting for him in this fight. If anything, we're rooting for Dorian more, because Dorian at least has, like, goals and some element of character to him. I'd say that the best thing in this episode, both in terms of writing and in terms of execution, was Dorian singing. That was good. Singing sort of like, I don't really know what it was, but it was like a kind of a love song almost. Like a Sinatra-esque type of crooner ballad type thing. Singing that while he's beating the absolute crap out of Kato was great. That's some good contrast, right? Because what he's doing, singing, is showing that he's calm and enjoying himself. And that doesn't match up with the scene, which is a fight to the death, where he's beating a dude to a pulp. It should be like hard action, like metal pumping music, rah! But instead it's got the full big band in the background and he's singing. But it makes sense for his character, because he's a weirdo. It makes sense for his character, and it works for the scene. I quite liked that. I think that was the best thing in the episode. The fight itself, I wouldn't say it was cringeworthy. There were a couple of shots that were kind of cringeworthy. The very first shot, where we first see CG Dorian model, and he sort of strikes a pose, was cringeworthy. Really quite bad. Just because it was up close and personal, and they should have done it traditionally. And they should have relied on, as they have done in the past, they've relied on wide shots for the CG stuff, and that works okay. Interspersing that with traditional shots and the still frame standing around is pretty standard anime technique for saving cost. Pretty standard stuff. They just chose to do a little bit too much of the CG on screen for a little bit too much of the fight. Unfortunate. They could have really gotten away with a lot more of what they did in the Hanayama fight. The Hanayama versus Spec fight, which was they had some great follow-through frames, right? I talked about one of them in depth, where Hanayama's punch actually sends Spec spinning along the same trajectory as the punch, and it creates this really cool motion blur across it. Frames like that are not that expensive to produce, because you just draw the one frame and you blur it and spread it and make it cool. Put some lighting effects on there. Yeah, it looks cool. And then you use that frame to show the follow-through of a punch. So all you have to do is like, guy rears back for the punch, and then follow-through frame, right? With a sound effect in between. And maybe like a blood spray or something, right? That's pretty easy. Instead, they wanted to show a bunch of the action with CG models, and they did some like slow-mo, fast-mo stuff. I don't remember what that's called, but the dynamic speed stuff. The other thing is they didn't use CG to its full potential. Like, if you're going to do CG, I would expect you to be using the CG camera, using the dynamic camera to do interesting stuff. And I didn't catch much of that in the fight. It was a lot of static shots of pretty bad looking CG models doing specific motions so that they could do slow-mo. Pretty mediocre. The rest of the episode was... We had the long scene, it was really quite a long scene, of Retsu, like, he's training, and then he, like, CG... is the sweat off of himself, and then he goes and he touches the punching bag and then feels that Kato is inside. Should be his corpse, but it's not, because Baki universe, nobody dies. Yeah, just nobody dies. I mean, Speck's not dead, he's just incapacitated in a bed, right? Nobody has died, as far as I know. I don't think a character has died, on or off screen. Which we can hand wave. It's fine. Fine, okay. But he should have died. It would have been better if he died. It would have been easier to sell the rage and desire for retribution if he died. It would have been a fitting end for him if he died. It would have been fine with us because we don't care about him as a character if he died. But he didn't die. Why not? Why not? Why not? You could have... They could have literally had him decapitated. We saw the wire that Dorian used go straight through Doppo's forearm. Flesh, bone, everything. Straight through, no problem. Why didn't it go through his neck? I mean, a wire would slip between your vertebrae and then cut, unless it actually cut through the bone. But no, he didn't die. Should have died. Too bad. It could have been a really cool scene with his head falling off. I would have quite liked that. I think that would have been good. But no. Sad. The hypnosis thing. That was some contrived bullshit. Now, there's been lots of contrived bullshit. And that's fine. But that was some contrived bullshit. Like, oh, your mind just created this thing. Not Dorian did this to you. Not Dorian controlled you with his magic clapping. Like, we've seen some magic bullshit before with Ryuko? Yeah, Yanagi Ryuko. With Ryuko and the whole explanation about the way of the void and all that jazz. That was some contrived bullshit. But it was fine, because they gave an in-universe explanation for the contrived bullshit. They didn't really do that here. It was just like, yeah, you really wanted to win, and so you imagined a person who wasn't there, and blocked out the real person who was there, and fought a person who wasn't there, imagining it the entire time, in full definition, to the point where you were completely convinced that you were winning, when you weren't. Like, no, that's some contrived bullshit. Now, if Dorian really does have that power, and it'll be explained more later, great. Why wasn't it explained here? It should have been. It's just not very good writing. And it's not like they didn't have time. They had time. There were a whole lot of scenes in this episode that were just filling time. The whole scene where he lists out all of Kato's injuries didn't need to be there. It was about 3 times as long as it needed to be. And yeah, they used it for a quick joke of sorts, where he says all that stuff and then he's like, those are only half his injuries, after listing like every bone in his body being broken. Why? Why was that there? Why was the whole training sequence with what's his face? Retsu. The whole chi sequence there. It didn't need to all be there. Didn't really give us much for him. We've seen him do most of those things before. We know him as a character to an extent. Didn't really need to be there. Just needed to have him walk up to the bag and then touch it to find what should have been a corpse. There was a lot of time filling, and so they had the time, if they wanted to use it for that purpose, to explain the hypnosis shit. But they didn't. I assume because it's not in the manga. Okay. That's fine. Could have been done better. Unfortunate. The second half, let's call it the second half of the episode, is that scene with Retsu, and then the revenge of Shinshinkai Karate, right? So, I think what they were going for was this vibe where, like, oh, everybody's after Dorian, there's no escape. And they got that to an extent, but I feel like there was something missing from it. I feel like there was something missing there. Like, having just the one scene in the restaurant was maybe not as effective as it could have been. I feel like he could have gone elsewhere and run into more Shinshinkai users who, just going about his day or his evening, leaves the restaurant, goes somewhere else, and goes to a bar, right? Whatever. Goes to a bar, sits next to a dude, and the bartender is there. And the bartender is real bulky, and the dude he sits next to is real bulky. And the bartender is like, what can I get you to drink, Mr. Dorian? Like, sort of a pervasive thing where everyone he encounters for the time frame of a night, or like a walk through a mall or something, is a Shinshinkai user. And it's not like blatant from the outset that everyone is a Shinkai user, but it quickly becomes apparent, and Dorian realizes it. And once he realizes it, all you need is one shot of, like, Dorian in a place and all these eyes looking at him, right? Like, eyes glowing out of the darkness. Like, oh, you're surrounded. That would give us some tension. There wasn't really much tension. Instead, we got, there are a bunch of cars following you. Okay. Dorian arrives at the amusement park. That one dude fights him for stupid reasons, because he's stupid. And he gets his ass kicked, because of course he does. There's somebody waiting inside. We're cliffhanged as to who. But it's either Doppo or Retsu or Orochi the Younger. It's one of the three. And one of the three will eventually beat him. Probably Retsu, because it's been set up. And, yeah. I would assume that it would be Retsu. That's my guess. Maybe he'll fight two people. He'll fight one, beat him, and then fight Retsu. Maybe. I could see him dispatching or dealing with Doppo. I know Doppo's strong as fuck, but I could still see that. But I think it'll just be him fighting Retsu. Their tension has been set up repeatedly. With the fire thing and Retsu's rage and then the Retsu finding the body and the whole scene with Retsu, like, training and using chi and stuff like that. Like, there's no reason to have that unless it's set up for Retsu fighting and beating Dorian. So that's my guess. We shall see. He's going into an amusement park full of horrors, which he will probably quite enjoy. All in all, Not the best episode. In fact, I would say it has been the worst episode so far. Again, that doesn't make it bad, it just means that it was worse than all the rest. I hope that this is not an arc where this show just like takes a turn and then nosedives, and that this is just a little speed bump, little divot in the road. We'll find out next week. Alright, I think I've said all that I wanted to say. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Baki, 2018, episode 9. I hope you've enjoyed it as much or more than I have, honestly. If you can overlook the stuff there and be hyped for that, then more power to you. But I hope you've enjoyed it as much or more than I have, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.